Well, hey there, everyone. Dr. Lisa Faast here from DiversifyRx, and I'm going to be discussing today on how you can make yourself different. When a lot of pharmacies are offering similar products and services, how do you make yourself different in the market so that you can have that competitive edge? Now, in today's talk, I'm going to be talking a lot about weight loss because a lot of pharmacies are starting to compound or sell compounded GLP-1s, and they're just getting into it. But there's lots of other pharmacies that have been doing this for over a year and a half. I remember helping out my friend and partner, Corey, get started in his pharmacy back in January of 2023. And so how do you come onto the market with a same or similar product? And in pharmacy, it's many times the exact same product. And how do you be different? How do you make yourself different and known so patients want to choose your pharmacy instead of somewhere else's? Now, this is really applicable no matter what the product or service is, even what the vertical is. It's certainly not particular to just pharmacy, but I'm going to give you some tactics that are specific to weight loss and maybe how you can potentially put together a program to make yourself different. All right. So in my opinion, there are only two ways to be different as a pharmacy or as any business. Number one is be cheaper. Race to the bottom, cutthroat all the prices, and just go for rock bottom prices. Certainly, this can be a very successful method. Think of Walmart. Absolutely, they have succeeded. Their messaging was all about rock bottom prices. They work on volume, not on profit. Now, in the pharmacy space, I don't necessarily recommend this, but that is a viable strategy in order to be different. Now, number two way that you can be different is to be better. Now, and better when you're selling the exact same product means that your product isn't better. So you have to provide additional add-on or value-added services in order to be better. There certainly is a competitive advantage to being the highest cost product in your market. As long as you can justify it. You're not just raising your prices to raising your prices, but as long as you're putting together an entire value package, then you can definitely win even being more expensive, and you'll enjoy more profit along the way, and you'll actually enjoy happier customers because you're actually taking care of more of their needs. So if you're selling a medical weight loss solution, whether you're compounding the GLP-1 or you're purchasing pre-compounded GLP-1s, think about adding these additional services in order to make your product different than what everybody else is. All right, so I'm going to go through some specific tactics in order to do that. Tactic number one, offer to weigh and measure your patients twice a month, once a week, once a month, whatever you want to do, but where you measure them, you weigh them, and you track their results. This can really help patients stay on track when they have kind of that third-party accountability person. And it also helps them to have a goal date when they're going to weigh and measure themselves. So many times patients get obsessed weighing themselves, sometimes even multiple times a day. It can get a little obsessive, that they get discouraged by lack of movement on the scale or lack of movement in the way clothes fit. And so by having a scheduled time when you can meet with each of your patients and do the measuring and do the weighing for them, and you're tracking for them, so you're keeping track of all the data, that is a really big value on service. And it does not have to be you, the pharmacy owner. I say you, but it's really just someone in your pharmacy. When I used to do HCG back in the day when you could compound HCG, we had thousands of patients on HCG. It was amazing. But my husband is the one who did the measuring. And if my husband wasn't available, I had a technician. So it doesn't have to be a pharmacist, doesn't have to be you, the owner, but it definitely adds a value-added service to be able to help your patients and track their goals and track their weight loss. Another great option is to have a private Facebook group that is only for your medical weight loss patients. This will help create kind of a community within a community where all of them are kind of using similar products. They're trying to reach similar goals. They all live in a similar area if they're using your pharmacy. Even if your pharmacy ships statewide or even nationwide, you can still create this nice group where everybody's in the community trying to reach similar goals. Obviously, Facebook groups are free. So that's nice. And it will give them a sense of kind of belonging, a place to ask questions, a place to learn tricks from other people. And it can actually be fairly easy to run these groups because the content doesn't always have to come from you. When you have a group, other people can answer the questions and other people can give advice. And so it actually doesn't take that much time to run these groups. All right. Another great thing to add to your medical weight loss to kind of make yourselves different is add a local eating out guide. Now, the easiest way I have found to do this is to go take pictures of local restaurants. Now, these can be fast food chains, they can be, chain restaurants, local little hole in the wall eateries. It doesn't matter, but it's places that people that are your patient are probably going to wind up eating. Now, I would do a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner version inside this menu. But what you do is take a picture of their menu and then go through and just mark up that picture. Highlight the things in yellow that are good for a keto diet, or highlight things in orange that are good for a low-fat diet, or whatever the different types of diets that you talk to your patients about. Go through and digitally mark up the pictures of the menu. And then all you do is put them together in a quote unquote digital book, and you give that to your patients. So it gives them a resource for local restaurants, places they're actually going to go, and help them follow whatever diet they choose to do. Because with medical weight loss, you have patients that will follow no diet. You have patients that will follow, certain strict diets like keto or certain different kinds of macros. And so that's a really valuable asset, because that is where a lot of people get hung up on, is when they get invited out to eat, or maybe there's a special occasion, like, what do I do? And so if you've marked up those digital menus, that is providing a very valuable service. You can also offer discounts on things like supplements. So if a patient gets medical weight loss from you, maybe they get 20% off supporting supplements, or they get 20% off of other things in your pharmacy. It's kind of just like belonging to a club, and that can definitely also add some differentiation. One that I love to tell pharmacies to do is offer free on Dancitron. Now, if you're a pharmacist and you're listening to this, you know the most common side effect of GLP-1s is nausea. Now, the nausea does seem to be a little bit less with the sublingual that's become, popular. It's still nowhere near as popular as the injectables. And even tirzepatide will have a little bit less nausea for most patients than semaglutide. But nausea is the number one complaint of medical weight loss patients. The second one is constipation, and that's probably just because they're eating less, they're drinking less, and the medication causes things to move slower through the body. So offer free on Dancitron, or even free DocuState Sodium. Both of those products are low-cost products, but high value to the patient. You're going to prevent side effects that might cause them to either not take their medication, take their medication less frequently, or even discontinue their therapy. So giving away a little bit of free product might make a patient not only stay on therapy longer, but also see more success with it, which is always a big win. Another great one, our last tactic I'll talk to you about today, is get value-added services from other businesses that you don't even have to pay for, that adds more value to what you're offering. So what do I mean by that? All right, people are losing weight, right? What do patients care about when they're losing weight? Yes, as clinicians, we think, oh, they get lower blood pressure or lower risk of cancer. And yes, patients agree those are good things too. But let's face it, it's how we look. When we lose weight, we like looking better. So what are some things that you can add on to your patients that you can get from other people in your town? Think of teeth whitening, free teeth whitening. Dentists offer free teeth whitening all the time. Find a local dentist, maybe one that's near your pharmacy, to offer your medical weight loss patients a free teeth whitening certificate. What are some other things? Maybe a nail salon, a hair salon, a tanning salon, waxing studio. Now, a lot of those are kind of women-based things, but they can work for men too. Even a chiropractor, a free adjustment. It doesn't necessarily have to do with vanity or weight loss. Just being healthier and thinking about wellness. Maybe you have a sound therapist and they get one free session. So really think outside of the box. All your other local businesses around you, they have the same problems like you do, attracting customers, being different. And so here you have patients in your community, you're putting them on medical weight loss, and they basically can get free customers coming to them by giving away a service that many of them already do for first-time customers. So work with your local business shops, especially the ones that are close to you. That's going to work a little more effectively for everybody, and get to see what they can help give you, so you can add that onto your package and you get the kind of add the value to that. So if you push in, $1,000 of free services into your medical weight loss, you can charge a little bit more for yours because the patient is getting so much more value. So there's only two ways, again, that I think of how you can be different. One is race to the bottom and be cheaper than everybody else, which is a viable strategy, but not my recommended one. Or number two is to be better and offer something better that you can actually charge more for. Or even if you wanted to charge the same price, if you put in some of these things, you were providing more value and definitely not the same thing as someone else. So share it with somebody on your team, brainstorm some ideas. I love getting creative with this. And I can't wait to hear how you guys do on your weight loss.